Versace, Versace, Medusa head on me like I'm Illuminati. I know that you like it.
Yo, what's up, MD Cribs? This is Big Boy Roy, and you're in the cribs of the Resonance Band. Come on in. Let's go in the backyard. Back here at the Resonance crib, we got Anthony and Austin playing some b-ball. Let's go check out what they're doing. Yo, Austin, Anthony.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Didn't see you there.
Hey, my name's Austin Habib and I play the flute.
The flute family is the oldest instrumental family in the woodwind category. The oldest flute dates back to approximately 43,000 years ago. Back then, when the flute was made, it was made out of bones. A flute in the time of the Renaissance period was only a simple, cylindrical wooden tube with a few finger holes and an embouchure hole, or the mouthpiece, as it is called today. Over the many years throughout history, the design and structure of this instrument has been gradually modified and changed until it became the flute that we know today. The most significant change came in the 19th century by a German watchmaker named Theobald Boehm. Boehm extended the length above the mouthpiece, he altered the size and positions of the keys on the flute, and he developed the Boehm finger system. The flute also played roles in histories of many different cultures. It was important in ancient music of the Chinese and the Nicaraguans. The flute is also a symbol of great importance in many religions and myths. The importance of the flute is seen in ancient Greek mythology, where many of the myths talk about the flute. The material from which a flute is made greatly alters the sound which is produced. Wooden flutes produce a dark sound. Silver flutes produce a bright sound. The thickness of the metal used to make a flute also alters the sound it makes, as well as changing the weight of the instrument. All these factors may influence the design of a flute preferred by a particular musician. Sound is produced on the flute by blowing air into the flute through the mouthpiece. This is what it sounds like. The air is not blown directly into the mouthpiece, but it is blown across it. The air will reflect off of a sharp edge, causing the air to be enclosed in a tube to vibrate. Different octaves and fingerings can be reached by overblowing or using different fingerings. After overblowing is when a flutist increases the velocity when blowing into the mouthpiece and transferring the pitch of the note produced into the upper register.
So y'all, I'm a Shark Tank, and I play the kazoo.
A kazoo is a wind instrument, unlike conventional brass and woodwind instruments. It all started in 1840 in Lincoln County, Georgia. A man by the name of Alabama Vest had an idea based on the gourd merleton derived from Africa. Alabama had a plan for the new instrument. He drew it out and brought it to a local clockmaker by the name of Thaddeus von Clegg, who took one look at his drawings and then got to work. With their creation, they first presented the kazoo in 1852 at a state fair. Back then, they called it the Down South Submarine. Slowly, it was starting to catch on because the noise it made was easy to hear and enjoyable. It was cheaper than a banjo and a horn section, which made it a lot more easier to purchase. So it became a staple of jug groups as well as early blues and jazz groups. Children's clubs and men's associations realized the ease of learning the instrument and created bands. In the late 1800s, the small metal merleton, now called the kazoo, was regularly played in the musical performances and community parades. In the early 1900s, a method for large-scale kazoo manufacture was developed by Emil Sarge and Michael McIntyre. McIntyre later started selling kazoos in 1914 and received a patent on the process in 1923. He went on to found the original American kazoo company, which is still in operation today. Later, the plastic kazoo was developed and it is now the standard material from which most kazoos are made. Kazoos have been created and manufactured in different materials and colors, such as plastic, brass, bamboo, and now electric kazoos. Today, you can find kazoos in almost every kid's goodie bag at every party. As the player hums, sings, or speaks into the mouthpiece B, the sound waves travel through the instrument, some of the waves hitting the walls and bouncing off in another direction. This can add some harmonics to the sound depending on how and what the body is made of. Some of the sounds strike the membrane F, causing it to vibrate. This adds harmonics to the sound and causes the air on the other side of the membrane to vibrate. This sound is directed outward by the funnel. Most of the sound you hear from the kazoo comes out here. The harmonics added by the vibrating membrane vary depending on the qualities of the membrane. The sound vibrations continue traveling through the body to the hole in the rear G. This hole is much narrower than the mouthpiece. Not much sound comes out here. Much of it is redirected back into the body, further affecting the harmonics. These harmonics change the tone of the voice and amplify it. As the funnel E is screwed into the holder K, the edges colored green press against the semi-flexible ring or frame that is peach-colored that the membrane is attached to, pushing the edges of it down and increasing the tension of the membrane. This affects the way the membrane vibrates and thus the harmonics are created.
I'm Dillan Patel, aka Curryhead, and I play the sitar.
The sitar is a stringed instrument of the lute family that is popular in northern India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. Its sounds evokes thoughts and feelings of the subcontinent. It is believed to be evolved into the present form of the 1700s during the collapse of the Mughal Empire as a marriage between the Persian setar and the South Indian veena. The sitar was invented in the 18th century by a Muslim named Amir Khusru. Typically measuring about 4 feet in length, the sitar has a deep pear-shaped gourd body, a long, wide, hollow wooden neck, both front and side tuning pegs, and 20 arch movable frets. Its strings are metal. There are usually 5 melody strings, 1 or 2 drone strings used to accentuate the rhythm or pulse, and as many as 13 sympathetic strings beneath the frets in the neck that are tuned to the notes of the raga. The convex metal frets are tied along the neck, which enables them to be moved as needed. Most quality-made sitars are constructed from a combination of teak and mahogany wood called tune wood. Teak is a rare wood, so a sitar built of one often has an air of mystique about it, and it also suggests that the sitar is old, as they are expected to last 30 to 40 years. Also, because the sitar is under a lot of tension from the strings, it will eventually start to bend, throw the frets off, and generally become harder to play. Even the best made sitars are prone to this and will eventually repair the neck to be replaced. The sitar produces its sound by sending vibrations through the strings and into the hole where it is amplified, very similar to a guitar, just with different strings. The unique sound of the sitar can be very high-pitched and is usually buzzy and or has a springy effect to it. Kind of sounds like this.
Why you keep that tool like that? Why you move like that? I hear
Back at it again with Big Boy Roy, and I play the cajon. The cajon drum is a percussion instrument that originated from the tribes of West Africa. The culture and tradition of these West African tribes revolved around drumming and dancing. During the 1530s, conquistadors enslaved West Africans and sent them to be slaves in Peru. Since these slaves were under strict command of their owners, the slaves had to improvise their native instruments to continue their culture. West Africans enslaved in coastal Peru improvised their native drums by using the abundance of shipping crates from ships coming in for trade. The shipping crates' appearance served to bypass the strict laws that prohibited slaves from playing instruments. The Peruvian cajon only flourished among the slaves in Peru but became world spread in 1977 when Spanish flamenco guitarist Paco de Lucia was introduced to the Peruvian cajon when he was touring in Peru. Paco de Lucia was so intrigued about the cajon that he brought the idea back to Spain,